Two. 1, 2. Let me know if y'all can hear me. 1, 2, 2. They saying they can't hear me. Oh. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Can y'all hear me? Oh. All right, now y'all can. Okay. Woo. Man, that was crazy. That was crazy. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Peace. All right, let me start over. Peace. Greetings to you all. It's your brother Naheem, BKA Lord Abba, aka Mr. Just the Facts. Hit that like button. Share the video out. You know, yeah. What's going on, brother Dre? I'm repping the Mets today. You know, I'm ghostly called by the S's of Queens. You know, that New York City still in me. I was born and raised there, but you know, I'm a Freedman first. Shout out Sister BTP Riri in the building, Sister Shanna, brother Chris, Sister Satra, Farouk Salam. Peace, brother. Peace to everybody else. Lafayette Ward, I see you, fam. Peace to everybody that is in the building right now. Oh, we're gonna touch on this Mexican thing, man. This a video was so funny. I can't get into details right now about a conference call that I had over. It wasn't a weekend. I think it was last Friday, and yeah, it was Friday, and I was then given a video link with these Mexican guys, American Cholo. I mean, sitting around talking about. I'm gonna play the video. And from that, a spiral effect has happened, right? If you follow boxing as close as I follow boxing, you'll know that. Well, let me say it like this. If I was to ask you who are the most racist fans in boxing, automatically people will say white folks, right? Automatically. What's going on, Ms. Battle? Automatically people would say, yeah, white people are, you know, they just, because they're uniform racism and everything. So, but you'd be wrong. And you'd be surprised to know, that's right, Farouk Salam, Mexicans are the most racist boxing fans. And I follow a lot of YouTube channels, boxing, Freedmen YouTube channels. I follow a lot of them. We got Brother Grim in the building. Let me get my headphones. I hope my mic don't cut out on me again. And so in following all of the boxing channels that I follow, right? Let me do my little intro piece real quick. And following all of the boxing channels that I follow, you get to see the visceral racism. These are race fans. The nationality and race of the fighter is more important than the fight itself. Peace, Ty Freedman. I see you, fam. You know, Farouk Salam said, because we are the only true competition. The American Freedmen fighter, the quote-unquote Black American fighter, is the number one fighter in boxing, period. And this grinds the gears of a lot of Mexican fans. They don't like that. No, they make it seem like black fighters don't sell. Every time Errol Spence fights, he sells. Every time Tank fights, he sells. They talk about, oh, Canelo. Well, then name me another boxer besides Canelo Alvarez that sells. That's all. That's all you have to do. Just name me another fighter, right? And I want to set the stage with, because a lot of people do not know that, you know, Mexicans, you know, particularly the Mexican Americans. And I'm going to be clear. It's not so much of the Mexicans, it's the Mexican Americans. The Mexican Americans that have a problem with us. And we find that in this group that's always screaming La Raza, La Raza. And we're going to get into La Raza as well. What does La Raza actually mean, right? And, you know, you can look it up and find out, but we're going to touch on it in our BTP way. So I want to play the video. Again, hit the like button, share this video out. We're having an important conversation. These people need to know that we will no longer take their racism. They're out there calling our freedmen family coons because they live in good neighborhoods. Like, you, what? So if we said you were a wetback because you lived in a predominantly white neighborhood, is that any less of a slur? They tried to justify it. They're trying to justify their use. But so I want to get into this video first, Grim. We're going to talk about this thing, and we're going to listen, and then we're going to talk about this thing. Excuse me. Let me see. So let me pull this comment up, man. I'm a Mexican American. I'm from Southern Cali with the Sureno. I don't know what that means. And I got no problem with people. I'm guessing he means black people. And I want to be clear before we get into the video. I want to be clear. Peace, Donna C, and MMA, and everybody else that joined. Remember, hit the like button, share the video out. If you want to support, use the super chat, use the cash app, Be the Power. When we're talking, right, we use generalized statements, and everybody knows that we don't mean all Mexican Americans are this way or all white people are this way. But in my experience, I've come across a lot of Mexican, just being on the boxing channels, just watching the comment section on Blue Blood Sports TV, Dante's Boxing Nation, 7A Sports. I mean, there's a champ side. Just there's a bunch of channels that I watch and I follow, and I see the hatred from the Mexican fan base, particularly the Mexican American fan base towards the American freedmen. I see it. So let me see. Yeah, Farouk Salam. What is his name? Anthony Joshua's new coach. Mikey, I think that's Mikey Garcia's brother. What is his name? He's always popping slick about black American fighters, and then he try to come back and, you know, say something else, etc. You know, it is what it is. But let's get into the video real quick so that we could break this down, right? Let me see. Okay, wait, let me pull this up, man. Let me pull these comments up. They're coming up. Several P said, as a young adult, I moved to New England, New Haven to be exact. I've witnessed more from Hispanics here than Cali. I'm guessing he or she means they've witnessed more racism in New Haven, Connecticut, than they did in California. And that's crazy. And I've experienced it as well. But growing up in New York City, there was a difference between the interaction with Puerto Ricans than there is with Mexicans, right? I mean, you know, it was beefs, but for the most part, our people and Puerto Ricans were really in the struggle in New York for a long time. You know, a lot of that has faded over the years. A lot of Puerto Ricans have joined La Raza, if you will, the people. So, you know, we see in New York a lot of the Dominicans, they can't not only stand our people, they can't stand anybody with several shades of chocolate melanin covering their bodies. So, all right, let's get into the video. I keep seeing comments that I want to pull up, but let's get into the video. See what these Mexican racists have to say. Let's blow this up. Okay.
Small little town in North Carolina that pass reparations for whoever's over there. I'm sure they'll try to do something out here in California. I think they already actually got a little board going that they're going to start looking into it. So
yeah, and that's what we, the Raza, need to step up, protest, and I'm talking major, and turn around and tell them, no, nobody get reparations until the Native Americans and the Mexicans get ours first. We've been going through this crap a lot longer, so I don't want to hear it. Because it's not fair, dog. How are you going to give a bunch of money to a specific group, dog? This is the United States, a melting pot. How are you going to give it to a specific group?
Because right now they've got the white people with so much guilt. It was your parents.
All right, y'all heard that, right? But I want to play it over. I want that to play again because I really want it to wash over the people. Matter of fact, let's blow this up some. Let's blow it up. I want to play this again. Let's play this one more time. Let's play. I want you to listen to everything that these people are saying. They're racist, they're bigots, and they're ignorant, right? You can tell that they're not versed in the history. They, like other immigrant groups, have assimilated themselves into whiteness. And the first form of that assimilation is going at American freedmen, aka Black Americans. That's the first portion of assimilation. Hey, do you hate niggers as much as we do? Well, then join the gang. Let's play this again.
Town in North Carolina that passed reparations for whoever's over there. I'm sure they'll try to do something.
So wait a minute. That town that they're speaking about is High Point, North Carolina. High Point, North Carolina. So he's saying that he's from this town, and so we're gonna let's let this play out.
Out here in California, I think they already actually got a little board going that they're gonna start looking into it. So
yeah, and that's when we, the Raza, need to step up, protest, and I'm talking major, and turn around and tell them, no, nobody.
So he, after saying that California and North Carolina is looking to do it, California is already done. This guy to the right, I don't know any of these guys. I just know one name, American Cholo, and that's the guy that you see on the screen right now, and if I'm not mistaken, sipping out of the red cup. So, you know, this other guy saying, no, we the La Raza must protest. Like, we got to protest. You're not even from this country. You're from another country. But we'll get into that. We're going to get into that. Let's finish.
We get reparations till the Native Americans and the Mexicans get ours first.
He said we can't get reparations until the Native Americans and the Mexicans get theirs first, family. Ain't that something? Ain't that a bold thing to say? What in the world, what type of reparations does America owe the Mexicans? What did they build here? When were their parents enslaved? And we're going to get into the numbers. We're going to get into the economic positionality of the Mexican Americans in this country. And we're going to show how it's skewed in a sense. And we're going to show why. Let's finish.
We've been going through this crap a lot longer, so I don't want to hear it. Because
he said they've been going through this crap a lot longer. What crap? What is he talking about?
Not fair, dog. How are you going to give a bunch of money to a specific group, dog? This is the United States, a melting pot. How are you going to give it to a specific group?
Because right now they've got the white people with so much guilt. It was your parents.
Okay, so that last part is BS. They don't have, the white people don't want to give us reparations, fam. They do not want to give us reparations at all. I put up 2 screenshots, and if I remember, I'll bring them up. Where the Democratic Party, they have in 2019 and in 2021, they want the talk of reparations to go away. They do not want our people to get reparations. Nobody wants us to have anything, not Mexicans, not white folks, not Black African immigrants, not Black Caribbean immigrants. And I don't mean every last person. I'm just speaking of the people that don't want us to have nothing, who get a kick out of looking down on the American freedmen. But that time is over. It's over, Grim. I want you to speak to what you heard. And when you finish, I want to start addressing some of their points, right? The first thing I want to do is get into, he said that the Indians the Native Americans got to get reparations first. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, peace. Man, let's walk this thing down slow. You know, it's unfortunate that we basically have to address this topic, you know, with a lot of them. But here's the thing, man. Those people, from what I heard, well, I'm gonna just stick with what you talking about right now. We gonna just deal with the video. Basically, man, the guy said that we've been going through this thing much longer than they have. So really what you have on those people points, man, is that there is an ignorance of history. And a lot of those particular guys, man, aren't well read on how long we've been going through this thing. Because if the United States of America was formed in the 1700s, we was dealing with this stuff at least 200 to 300 years before that. So those guys don't understand what chattel slavery is. What they had in those lands is colonialism, and a lot of those people, those very guys that are on the stage for the most part, probably are descendants of people who were, you know, who may have been free in Mexico. They may have been subjects of the government of Spain, but those people were not subject to a lot of the things that the American freedmen or the descendants of slaves were subjected to in this country. So it just shows how ignorant they are. You know, there's a picture that's floated around on Juneteenth and Black History Month of this man, right? I can't think of his name right now, but he was also a Civil War veteran. And they show his back just tattered and torn to shreds, right? Produce that. Produce.
Whipped Sam or something like that. It's something like that.
Yeah. So produce.
Pete, I think. Yeah, my bad, bro.
Pete, that's right. That's right. So produce any of that type of stuff where your women were like raped and beat and raped and beat and sold in families. I mean, let's just talk about the family componentry of this thing. You know, just imagine somebody come in your house, rip your son or daughter, or son and daughter from your arms and sell them for you to never ever see them again. Like that's exemplified in the stories of Kunta Kinte. So when the brother talks about not ever, you know, that they went through this stuff longer than us, I mean, bro, it just shows an ignorance of the actual history. And not only that, Naheem, when we probably get into this a little bit later, I'm gonna stay on as long as I can, but we may get into this a little bit later. But a lot of those people, a lot of the Mexican people, man, they ignorant of their own history. And we not just talking about just in America, we talking about the origins and the foundation of the Mexican nation. And we, you know, just speaking to that brief thing, and then they talk about a melting pot and all of that stuff. So basically at the same time, they want to discredit our claims, but at the same time take, you know, conservative and liberal talking points, talking about that this is a melting pot and they go get theirs first. It just shows that they just came over here and they just seen another group of people that they feel is undeserving, but they don't know the history and the pain of our story. They may have been called names and things of that nature. Look, my parents, bro, and our parents, this stuff, man, is so fresh and new to us. I mean, I can go back and talk to my parents about Jim Crow. You know, so it's not that long ago. Like my mom and my father basically had to sit on buses that had, colored section only, white only. So we talking about one generation, and I'm not that old. So the bottom line, man, is that, you know, these people, man, they don't know and understand. And if they knew, let me say this, Naheem, just not addressing the video part, but I don't want to jump the gun because this is the stuff that I want to address. If La Raza knew their origins in the Black experience, they wouldn't have that hate in their heart. Because see, between the years of, we talking about Mexican history now. And there's a book that I'm going to address all the Africanness or the Blackness, so to speak, that the Mexicans have in them. If they really knew and understood that, they wouldn't be on this anti-Blackness. So basically what the Mexican people did is they fell into I think there's a group of them that's called the Creoles, which is the descendants of the actual Spaniards amongst them, who basically kind of like go along with and have crafted this cosmic race type of theory for who those people are. But at the same time, the whole time, the Africanness of the Mexican people, or the fact that they adopted a lot of Black customs or African customs a long time ago, have basically been erased from the Mexican history. And we kind of go into a book that talks about that. It's called African Mexicans and the Discourse on the Modern Nation. So the bottom line, bro, is that not only do they come over here, act like freedmen, talk like freedmen, and dress like freedmen, but even in the country where they come from is highly influenced by Black culture. Their food, their dress, and everything like that have basically been influenced by people who came over there from the African continent. So I know we kind of like getting out of the specificity.
Yeah,
claim,
let's we gonna get into that.
I just wanted to touch on that real quick as we go
definitely,
in. But what I just wanted to point out to everybody is that not all, but a lot of Mexican anti-Blackness is rooted in that Creole, if I'm pronouncing the word right, class. So they come over here where their rulers had bleached them out, so to speak, mentally, so they carry that racism over here and pointed at the freedmen. That's basically what I wanted to point out, bro.
And let's speak to this really quick, bro, before we move on. Bulldog Face, I believe this is a Hispanic brother that's in the chat. The same thing happened to our ancestors. The Spanish did it to us, and the English did as well in the southwestern states. We were lynched by the hundreds in Texas. By the way, the only reasons he meant to say brought slaves over is because they decimated our ancestors with smallpox and other diseases, so they had nobody to work their lands. Now,
man,
you set that one though. I'm gonna let you set that one though.
Yeah. Pull up the first part of the comment that he said, because I can speak, but I can't see the screen until you click it, because I just want to address it.
The same thing happened to our ancestors. The Spanish did it to us, and the English did it as well in the southwestern states. We were lynched by the hundreds in Texas. That was.
But guess what? We was lynched by the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of unmarked graves.
That's right.
Of freedmen who
That's right.
that we'll never know, and freed women and children who we'll never know their names. So
that's right.
You know, no disrespect to brother, But when you talk about hundreds, man, you talking about a 400-year experience, bro. A 400-year experience or more of slave practices that have been rained down upon the sons and daughters of the freedmen. So, you know, the bottom line is that, yeah, they may have went through that, and we know the whole world got their ass kicked by the European nations. Ain't no doubt about that. But at the same time, you need to talk to the Mexican people and let the Mexican people know, and let the Mexican people understand why they're making the freedmen an enemy to them. But the freedmen, y'all, because your culture is enshrouded in a level of white supremacy taught to you all, and y'all carry it down upon the freedmen. And that's what's happening in California and all of these other places. And it's not just y'all, it's a whole lot of different groups and classes of people that come over here, and all of them hate the native born Black Americans for one reason or another. And what was the second part of that comment, Naeem?
He was speaking about, let me see, hold on.
I see it. He said, by the way, the only reasons they brought slaves over here is because they decimated our ancestors with smallpox and other diseases. I don't disagree with that at all.
So they had nobody to work their lands. But I would say this, right? I don't believe that's why they brought us over here.
No,
more so than they felt by the curse of Canaan, which is enshrined in Christian doctrine and enshrined in the not Alexander Stevens. I always forget the Stevens, who was the vice president of the Confederacy. I always forget this guy's first name. But you know, he said it by the curse of Canaan. The condition of the Black people was meant for them to be slaves. So this thing that there wasn't a lot of people, natives, to work the land, and that's why they brought Africans over, that's just false. They just felt we were inherent slaves.
Well, that's the point, brother. But what he's saying is not 100% incorrect. But it was our group who was immune, who was genetically immune to all of that madness. You follow what I'm saying? And not only was we genetically immune to a lot of the diseases that the indigenous people was dying from, that came from the Europeans, bro, is that the predecessors or the ancestors who eventually became what we call the freedmen in America today and the Afro-Mexican population, those people brought a scientific genius to the Western Hemisphere. Those Black people brought a certain genius to the Western Hemisphere that changed the whole course of colonialism. And what I mean by that, a lot of those colonial towns and settlements and stuff, a lot of those things, we talked about this before, Naheem, a lot of those places was on the brink of total disaster. Places in the Gulf state of the United States, the East Coast, until they started bringing Africans, Africans who became the freedmen over here. So they started bringing like different types of medicines. They didn't just bring no ignorant porch monkeys over here. They brought people who were farmers and doctors and physicians and builders and who built their community, and the European added that. And then those colonies, they didn't thrive under the indigenous Mexicans or the indigenous population, even in North America. When they was enslaving the Native Americans, they didn't thrive. Those communities did not start to thrive until they brought the ancestors of the freedmen in here. And that's right. Why we are owed reparations, man, because this whole capitalistic experiment was built upon the backs and stuff of the freedmen and the people that they brought here and put into this.
I just want these people to give a rundown of the stuff that they went through that's comparable to what we went through and why they say they are owed reparations first, they said, right? First. So I want to, y'all know how we do, man. We just do research and scholarship over here. And later we're going to talk about North Carolina and the reparations commission that they're holding there, and these people talking about that they're going to protest out there. I'm going to get into that. So this is the University of Massachusetts' library online, one of their pieces of their library online, I should say. It's not the whole library right here in this link, obviously, right? So y'all see us pull this up on Be the Power all the time, man. These are body shots, using a boxing analogy. These are them body shots that put you down, or one of them clean right hooks to the jaw or left hook, depending on which side you shooting your hand from, right? So I want to, I laugh because we see the ignorance of these people. We was on a Twitter space the other day. We're trying to upload that video to put it on YouTube, where we were going at Matt Walsh, the guy who made the video, What is a Woman, right? The documentary. I guess he figured, he did his thing with that documentary. Now he's going to touch on the issue of slavery, and he just got it completely wrong. We destroyed him. And we're going to see if we destroyed his talking points. He didn't actually step up to take the debate, but we're going to see if he's willing to have the discussion with us like he has with other people when he knows that he's right. See, he's wrong here. And when people are wrong, they don't want to have direct discussions. They don't want to sit face to face across from you, because we the American freedmen, we sit face to face across with anybody on this planet, because we don't fear nobody on this planet. So we've been through too much. This is a historical timeline of reparations payments made from 1783 through 2022 by the United States government, states, cities, religious institutions, universities, corporations, and communities. Y'all know we bring this up all the time, but for the new people, let me put this in the chat so that y'all could bookmark this and have this in y'all's, in your archives. Peace to everybody that's just joining. Sierra Cosby says, shout out to my alma mater, UMass Amherst. We got some smart people in our chat. We got some college-educated folk as well. Gary Johnson said, peace, BTP. Peace to everybody that's just joining. So let's get through this. Let's go through some of this real quick. So, we always bring up Belinda Sutton in the reparations, right? We bring up Mumbet. We bring these people up because it shows that reparations for our people was something that did happen at one point, right? But they were on an individual basis more so than broad, right? This 1863 reparations, this was from the New York City draft riots. And, it showed where white merchants, it says immediately after the riots, I'll read this. Over 4 days in July, mobs of white New Yorkers terrorized black people by roaming the streets from City Hall to Gramercy Park to past 40th Street, setting fire to buildings and killing people. The overall death toll is estimated between over 100 and over 1,000. Immediately after the riots, the white merchants of New York combined forces to raise money to care for the injured, repair the damaged property, because that's what reparations means, repair. It's the heart of the word. Repair the damaged property and support the legal and employment needs of the community's black people. The shopkeepers raised over $40,000, equivalent to $825,000 today. All right, so we see that there was a time that, some private institutions in New York City were able to raise money and help the freedmen get back on their feet in that city. But unfortunately, as those 1800s rolled on into the 1900s, Oh, we went through hell. We went through hell, and we might get through some of that a little later. So 1865 is talking about, General Sherman's field order number 15, the 40 acres and the mule. What happened to that? It said, let me see. Okay, it says by June, roughly 40,000 blacks had settled on 400,000 acres of land before Confederate landowners, aided by the new Johnson administration, started taking back their land. So that was a failure of reparations for our people. No land, you can't grow crops to sell, you can't grow subsistence crops to live off of. You can't pass that land on to your progeny so that they could build wealth and they can pass it on to their progeny on up until present day, right? This was the number one reparations program for our people, and it failed. 1866, Southern Homestead Act. And I pray that American Cholo and the Mexican Americans that were on that panel are listening or will listen to this video. I pray that some of them that may be on the fence because they're convinced by these bigots, because that's what they are, will see this and say, oh, I did not know that. I've learned something today. These brothers on this platform called Be the Power have changed my mind. I don't know. Bigots like to stay reveling in bigotry. So it is what it is. 1866, the Homestead Act. Ex-slaves were given 6 months to purchase land at reasonable rates without competition from white Southerners and Northern investors. But owing to their destitution, few ex-slaves were able to take advantage of the program. The largest number that did were located in Florida, numbering little more than 3,000. The program failed. Juxtapose that to the GI Bill, where our people were coming home after World War II. And most of our people were locked out of the GI Bill's program. Those that were able to access it, when they tried to go live in nice homes and nice neighborhoods, they were told no Negroes allowed. I hope the La Raza American Cholo people are listening. Everything that we tried to do in this country, white people made sure that we were not successful in. So let's go to this period of 1900 to 1949, because he said the Native Americans got to get it first, which is something that all who are ignorant of reparations say. Okay, 1924. With the Pueblo Land Acts of 1924, Congress utilized the establishment of the Pueblo land boards to adjudicate land title disputes, along with the payment of $1,300,000 to the Pueblo for the land they lost. That's a lot of money in 1924. 1927, the Shoshones were paid over $6 million for land illegally seized from them. See, our land, remember, let me scroll back up. Right? Let me read this again. By June, roughly 40,000 blacks had settled on 400,000 acres of land before Confederate landowners, aided by the new Johnson administration, started taking back their land. They took all the land back, family. But the United States of America never compensated us. They never compensated us. In 1927, we see the Shoshones got $6 million. Grim, I got two screens for you up, Grim. But we see the Shoshones got $6 million. So I did the math to that. What was the, hold on. What is $6 million in today's money, right? So $6 million in 1927 is worth $102,176,206.90 today, family. We got nothing. We were told we should pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps. That's what we were told. 1934, Congress passed the Indian Reorganization Act, which authorized $2 million a year in appropriations for the acquisition of land for Indians, except for the state of Oklahoma and the territory of Alaska until 1936, meaning in 1936, Oklahoma and Alaska got broke off. A judge just awarded like half of Oklahoma to Indians. That was either this year or last year. What are these La Raza, American Cholo guys, Mexican, whatever they are? What are they talking about? They're ignorant of the history. But that's our job. Our job is to school not just these people, but everybody who's ignorant of this history. 1944, some Native Americans, let me see, sued the federal government in the Court of Claims on behalf of California's Native Americans after failure to ratify solemn treaties with various tribes. The plaintiffs were eventually awarded $17 million in 1944. Now that's roughly the same time frame as 1927. Like, we can start doing inflation calculators and see how much 17 million is today. 1946, Congress created the Indian Claims Commission, right? So you got between 50 years, 1900 and 1949, we have reparations for Indians. Now, we got another 20 years coming up from 1950 to 1969. I'm not going to read through all of these, of course. The Navajo Hopi Rehabilitation Act was passed, authorizing an appropriation of $88,570,000 over 10 years for a program benefiting the Navajo and Hopi. Do a calculation on an inflation count. Let's do that real quick. Let's do that real quick. Let's see how much that is, right? Let's see how much $88,570,000 was in 1950. Okay, 1950. Yeesh. Today, that's $1,800,973,662. They were given today's equivalent of $1 trillion over 10 years. What are these La Raza, Mexican, American Cholo people talking about, family? What are they talking about? 1956, the Pawnees were awarded more than $1 million. 1962, Cherokee landmarks, whatever. 1968, the Tlingit and Haida Indians of Alaska, like, they were awarded $7.5 million. Now we're going to go through 1970 through 1989, another 20 years of reparations. This is reparations to Native Americans that started in 1900, family. Richard Nixon signed something for the Teos, if I'm saying that correctly, Pueblo, Mexican Americans, restoring some lake. It doesn't have a monetary figure, but we would probably guess that it was a lot, right? Let me see. 1971, around $1 billion, and plus 44 million acres of land in the Alaska Native Claims Settlements Act. 1974, a $10 million out-of-court settlement was reached between the U.S. government. All right, so this was the Tuskegee. This was the one time that we, got some type of money in history, but it represented a small group of people as opposed to whole nations of people who were able to leverage this money into casinos and help other tribal nations out. 1980, $81 million to the Klamaths of Oregon. 1980, they was feeling generous in 1980, wasn't they? $105 million to the Sioux of Dakota, South Dakota, for the seizure of their land. We didn't get nothing for the seizure of our land. 1985, $12.3 million to the Seminoles of Florida. 1985, $31 million to the Chippewas of Wisconsin. 1986, $32 million per an 1836 treaty. What about our 1866 and 1865 pieces of legislation, like General Sherman Field Order 16, like House Resolution 29 in 1866, which ensured every freedman 40 acres of land? Every freedman, not just the ones that fought in the war. They didn't give us that. 1988, the Civil Liberties Act. President Ronald Reagan signed a bill providing $1.2 billion, $20,000 a person, and an apology to each of the approximately 60,000 living Japanese Americans who had been interned during World War II. Additionally, $12,000 and an apology were given to 450 Ungangans, Alawits, for internment during World War II, and the $6.4 million trust fund was created for their communities. We got nothing. We got nothing. They gave us welfare, food stamps after 30 years of bilk because white people didn't want us to have it. They boxed us out of the welfare program for 30 years. They built up a whole white middle class off of the welfare system alone. Then when they got it, they said, we don't want the blacks to have it. And then they said, if you give the black people welfare, they're not going to want to work. After they sat home and collected welfare for 30 years and built their middle class up, was able to leverage that money into their own businesses and institutions. I hope La Raza and American Cholo and the rest of these people are listening. 1989. Oh, wait, we got something. Congressman John Conyers introduced Bill H.R. 3745, which aimed to create the Commission to Study Reparations Proposals for African Americans Act. Now, if they don't know, that was changed to H.R. 40. And guess what happened to H.R. 40? It is still lingering and languishing in the House after all of these years. All of these people got something. These La Raza, Mexican American, Cholo people, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, they got, I mean, the Indians got everything. We got nothing. And this man is going to say that America, got to get or give reparations first. Let me pull up this question by my pops. Peace to my father. He is in the building watching. He said, peace. Can we sue for that land? Nothing wrong with knowledge. However, what do we do with this knowledge? That's why we're building, right? It's just shout out to my pops, the God of law forever, man. We're building right now, pops. We're building, and we are putting some things together behind the scenes that are showing fruit, and they've already shown fruit in places like California, and you're going to start seeing little things locally pop up all over the place, and then we're going to have that push. So we are not, I don't want to say that we're not going to sue, right? I wouldn't leave that out as an option, but the Congress of this country knows that it owes us reparations. It knows that. Whether it's the House, the Senate, the president, et cetera, they know that they owe us. And what they're trying to do is, like Stacey Abrams said, like Barack Obama said, matter of fact, Grim, before I'm going to close this out, and before you come in, I want to play, because I got my pops listening in, you know, shout out to all my family. It's always good to have my family members and people from my neighborhood listening in. But I want to play this clip from Barack Obama that we play it all the time here on Be the Power. But I want you all to hear Obama's response to reparations.
Counterproductive. And it's perfectly understandable why working class white folks, middle class white folks, folks who are having trouble paying the bills or dealing with student loans or, you know, don't have health care, where they feel like government has let them down, wouldn't be thrilled with the idea of a massive program that is designed to deal with the past, but isn't speaking to their future.
You're saying we live in a country where we can do that for bankers on Wall Street, but we can't do it for a part of the population that's been struggling for so long.
Well, I promise you, white folks don't like that either. But look, even though I was convinced that reparations was a non-starter during my presidency, I understand the argument of people I respect, like Ta-Nehisi Coates, that we should talk about it anyway. If for no other reason than to educate the country about a past that too often isn't taught, and let's face it, we'd rather forget.
We see Barack Obama saying the reason why he didn't want to do reparations is because of white backlash. There's things y'all gonna always hear me repeat on this channel, and this is another one of them. Matter of fact, hold on. Let's play another clip real quick. One more clip. I want you to hear Tamika Mallory, right? She echoes what Obama said. She echoes what Stacey Abrams said on the 85 South podcast when them brothers asked, why is it every time we ask for something for us, y'all got to add other people in? And Stacey Abrams said, well, because you can't basically just do nothing for black people because people are going to get mad. Like, what? So y'all get to do everything else? Hispanics. I'm about to get into some numbers, but let me play this clip.
So he did immigration, obviously stopping this stupid wall that they're building. Yeah. He dealt Muslim with the Muslim ban, getting rid of the Muslim ban. He dealt with making sure that I think 11 million people will become citizens. So he's doing things, right? But with black folks, you can't just sign something to say stop killing black people. It's not that simple. And
see, it's simple for everybody else. When Asian Americans were saying that they were being targeted, hate crimes because of COVID, well, I'm about to pull something up. They just went and signed something for them. I bring it up all the time. Senators Macy Hirono from Florida, Senators Tammy Duckworth, Asian Americans threatened the Biden administration and said, if y'all do not pass something for the Asian American Pacific Islanders, when it's time to nominate your appointees, we will not vote. Oh, they got things done. You think Cory Booker, and not just Cory Booker, but that we vote Democrats, our people do. But you think because you got Tim Scott, you got Kamala, she's the vice president. You think these people are gonna threaten the administration and say that if you don't do something specifically for black people, that we're gonna boycott? Let me see. Can I want to pull this up, Grim, because I know you want to go into there's some numbers that I really, really want to get into. Why is all of this popping up? I'm trying to pull up. Okay, let me pull this up, and then I want you to go in because I really want to get into these numbers as well. Window. All right, this is, I don't know if y'all can see this, right? Let me pull this over, right? This is Statista.com. Number of race-based hate crime incidents in the United States in 2019 by race. This was the year before COVID. I want you all to know CNN did a report for the 2021 numbers. We were still the highest, but let's scroll through this. Let's start at the bottom. Anti-Native, Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islanders, 21 hate crimes reported. Anti-Arab, 95. Anti-American Indian or Alaska Native, 119. Anti-multiple races group, 134. Anti-Asian, only 158. Anti-other race / ethnicity / ancestry, 313. Anti-Hispanic or Latino, 527. Anti-white, 666. Interesting number for the anyway, anti-black or African American, 1,930. Family, you could add all of these numbers up combined, and I think it goes over the 1,930 number by, I think it was 40 or 44 incidents, family. We are the number one target of hate crimes every year, but when there was an uptick against Asian Americans, these people had no problem signing a bill for these people. And they send Tamika Mallory out to say, when it comes to black people, you just can't sign something. What do you mean? They can just sign something for everybody. What makes it so complicated when it comes to us? Yo, go ahead, Brother Grimm. Yeah, Grim, can you hear me? Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me in the chat. I hope my mic didn't go out again. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me, fam.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I was getting the mute off. I had to take the mute off.
Okay.
But
Cool,
yeah,
cool.
man, definitely, bro. They need to hear those numbers, man. They need to hear all that. Because really, man, the bottom line is this. The world still operates off of this. Cursed be Canaan, shall he be. And that whole energy pretty much vibrates through the world today when it comes to the sons and daughters of freedmen. Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
Indeed. So the bottom line, man, is so whenever it's something to us, deep down inside, man, everybody is psychologically wired to deny us stuff because the world basically believes that we don't deserve. We don't deserve that car. We don't deserve that. We don't deserve that. We don't deserve that money. We don't deserve to breathe. And in the world, subconscious is really the subjugation, man. All right.
Yeah, you breaking up, bro. Or unless that's me.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, man, what I was saying, brother, is like in the world's subconscious is that we as a group of people don't deserve nothing. So the whole world is still basically operating on cursed be Canaan, a slave of slaves shall he be. And that's just the bottom line. So deep down inside, when we basically come up with our claims are denied or basically downplayed. So this is the thing that I want to go into, bro. If you could bring up that screen share, because you went into the number. And I want to tell Mexican people who they are if they don't know, and the contribution of our culture and the contribution of the freedmen to the independence of the Mexican nation itself. Because see, nobody stuff. This is a book right here called Black and Brown, African Americans in the Mexican Revolution, 1910 to 1920. But what people don't understand is they had communities of freedmen and stuff who went down to the borders, and who a lot of those people intermixed and mixed in with the Mexican people. A lot of those people contributed generally as far as black people, because we need to talk about this part of it, Naheem, because the bottom line is that I think a lot of Mexicans have forgotten their history or don't know their history or not history. So basically, to get to what I was saying, there was a lot of freedmen who went down to the borders and assisted Mexican people from the period of 19. So if you don't know, go pick up this book, Black and Brown, the American Mexican.
You breaking up, bro. You breaking up bad.
Look, let me go down to this before I okay, here we go. So I just want to read this, man, real quick, just to give everybody an idea of basically, man, what we dealing with when these Mexicans are basically hating on freedmen or black people in general. This is like one of the editorial views of this book, right? I'm gonna read this real quick. That's the second paragraph. Gerald Holm is one of America's most outstanding and prolific historians. In his latest work, Horn illustrates the extensive involvement of Black Americans in Mexico's revolutionary past. Black and Brown provides a powerful and provocative interpretation of the complex connections linking African Americans with Latin American history. Superbly researched and well crafted, Black and Brown sets a high standard in the writing of modern social history. So while those people are hating Black people for whatever those prejudices that they hold within their modern culture, and I'm saying modern culture for a reason, because it was a period, Mexican history is highly influenced by African history or Black history, if you will. I'm going to say Black history. It's highly influenced. Like I was saying earlier, their culture, their dress, some of their maxims, a lot of that stuff is influenced by Blacks and they don't even know it. So why hate upon Black people in general and the freedmen in specific when the freedmen and Black people help build the foundation of the present day Mexican nation? You follow what I'm saying? So I got this. Let me see if I can go to this one right here.
Make sure y'all hit that like button, family.
So let me get out of that, bro. And I just want to go to this. Can you see that screen, Naheem? Black Mexico and the War of Independence?
No.
Okay, let me go back. I'm going to stop screen sharing for 1 second.
Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all share this video out. Y'all know how we do here at Be the Power, man. We don't play. We dig into the research. We get into the scholarship. We get into the numbers. We get into the data, etc.
Right. Indeed, bro. So the bottom line, bro, like a lot of this Mexican hate against Black Americans, specifically, a lot of, man, these people need to turn around and look and see who their fathers and stuff are. And we don't even want to get into the pre-colonial stuff, you know, as far as ancient trips or whatever of Blacks over there, man, to over here to the Western Hemisphere before Columbus and stuff. We don't want. Let's just talk about the what became the modern Mexican nation. When you go into this article that I'm showing right now, Black Mexico in the War of Independence, the president of Mexico who finally had issued the decree ending slavery was of African descent himself. So, you know, bro, and I've experienced it and seen it, and I've seen a lot of racist and kind of like hateful Mexican people, if you will. But your foundation of your nation was basically founded by basically this mixed race man right here who was half African or half Black, if you will. So let me read this. In 1810, at the start of the Mexican War of Independence, just over 10% of the population of New Spain was Afro-Mexican, according to the Spanish census. There were the descendants of hundreds of thousands of Africans the Spaniards transported to Mexico for slave labor. By the early 19th century, almost all Afro-Mexicans were of mixed race, Indian, African, European, and termed Negroes, mulattoes, and or mestizos. only about 1 in 10 was still bound in slavery, but all suffered under the burden of a caste system that saw, quote unquote, pure Spanish. That's what I was talking about earlier, the Creoles. See, the people like the people that you named, see, I don't know all these people because, y'all just informed me that this stuff was going on. But see, those type of people who make those statements, those type of people that's in California,
they're just the loud ones, Grim. Those are the ones they're just the loud ones. Those are the ones we hear in public. There are millions of them that feel that way.
Right. But and that brings me to the point when you go to Creoles, look it up. It's Criollos. See, they got the people who basically stayed over there and became like the Spanish or the European Spaniards class or the rulership class amongst them, basically taught these modern day Mexicans, who are nothing more than a mixed race of people themselves, combined with black people, the indigenous Indians and Europeans. That's all a lot of these Mexican people are, so to speak. So the Creoles basically taught them, like the caste system. The caste system, basically black on the bottom, everything that ascends from black all the way up to white at the top, basically a racial caste system. So basically these people were taught this racial class system in their culture over there in Mexico. So a lot of those people come over here with those preconceived notions, right? So in the war against Spain, the decrees of the revolutionary leaders induced the Afro-American participation by making minority rights integral to the struggle. The abolition of slavery and the caste system were both stated goals of early independence leaders like Miguel Hidalgo y Costa, often called the father of the nation, and Jose Morelos Pavillon. The latter had what? African roots, right? So
that's right.
Mexico's African descendant people, right, scholars Ted Vincent, had special incentives to fight, were encouraged to join the struggle, and provide many participants and leaders. So these people are anti-black and hate black people, when black people, Afro-Mexicans and freedmen, were integral to the establishment of the modern Mexican nation.
Talk to them.
You follow what I'm saying? So that's problematic. So what those people need to do is come from under the Creole understanding of their relationship to this thing, man. And
you know what it is, Grim? Let me just say real quick before you finish. It is assimilation. It is an access to whiteness. This is, remember, my analogy I use all the time when I say the United States of America is one big house, and the American freedmen, our people, are the doormat that everybody else gets to wipe their feet on before they enter into this house, which has a room already prepared for them. We, for the most part, are outside of the house. We are the doormat outside of the door. So these people are just trying to be assimilationists, if that's a word. That's all. They want to be white adjacent. So we have the people that are of Mexican, Hispanic descent, who are classified for the most part as white in this nation. You have the black immigrant. And again, I'm not speaking of everybody. There's some people that rock with us in every group, but I'm speaking to the majority of the people that I'm speaking to all of, I should say, the people who appear to be the majority. The black immigrants don't rock with us. They came over here and felt that they could be, a better Negro. Like we don't have to fight. And this was going on in A. Philip Randolph's day when he was going at the West Indians because they were not trying to help with what we were going through in the city of New York, while the Irish, the Italians, the Jews, and the regular old Anglo-Saxons were all forming this new white race that had started in 1691 in this country. Yeah, go ahead, bro. I just wanted to add that part in there.
Indeed, brother. I want to go to another book that I want y'all to get and to check this thing out. It's called African Mexicans and the Discourse on Modern Nations by Marco Polo Hernandez, right? And I just want to read something out there too, so y'all could basically understand what's going on here. So when you hear those people talk on that clip, and like you say, millions of them all over, because, you know, we can show the videos of Mexican violence upon black people in California and so on and so forth. I think we got some of them videos, right? So, but for what I want to do is that I want to show these people, bro, that, yo, the freedmen were instrumental in that other book that I showed, the African Black and Brown, the African American participation in the revolution, that book that I just put up. Like I said, they had communities of freedmen who was getting freed, escaped from slavery, who was going down there and helping. Let me read this real quick. And I should have pulled up page, but anyway, it's called Mexicans in the Discourse on Modern. I'll read this real quick, and then I'm gonna be done. 1946, Beltran added another dimension to the problem when he, quote unquote, rediscovered a black population in Mexico's South Pacific coast. He classified mestizos as Indo-mestizos, Euro-mestizos, and Afro-mestizos based upon appearance. As a result, the term Afro-Mexican seems to have become a synonym for the visibly black portion of the Mexican mestizos in a growing body of academic work. The problem with this perception is that it creates an artificial division of Mexican mestizos. I'm going to read that part again. The problem with this perception is that it creates an artificial division of Mexican mestizos based on the way people look. For instance, the black or the African root of the Mexican mestiza has been referred to as the third root, quote unquote. This, in the case of visibly black Mexicans, appears erroneous. In some instances, it's seen more appropriate to the first root. In others, the second or the third or the fourth. It should be clear. Now, this is a Mexican that wrote this book. It's in some instances, it seems more appropriate to call the African element the first, right? It should be clear, particularly in the light of new readings of history, that a considerable part of the Mexican mestizos, even many whose appearance would make one believe otherwise, possess black genes. So them dudes sitting up there right now talking that crap probably got African genes in them. But they are anti-freedmen or anti-black. So let me read this real quick. And this the basically the breakdown of the purpose of this book, the African Mexicans and the Discourse on the Modern Nation. This work analyzes the coding and distortion of the image visibly black Mexicans in and through literature and film, and the omission of the African heritage in popular cultural images or sites that by official intervention. See, the Mexican government and the Mexican media was also complicit in erasing the black element and helping to reinforce the Creole class white supremacy in the minds of Mexicans. So it goes on to say, it explores how Africanness of Mexican or mestizos was erased from the collective memory and national imagery, and the African ethnic contributions plagiarized in modern. This study examines part of the discourse on nation expressed in various cultural texts produced by authors who subscribed to the belief that only white was beautiful between 1920 and 1968. So the premise of this work is that though the government, the Creole elite, and their allies disenfranchised Mexicans as a whole by instant magic mirror materialized in the narrative of the nation where mestizos perceived a partial reflection of themselves. The Africanness of the Mexican mestizos was removed from the ideal image of Mexicanness disseminated in and out of the country during this period, and in the material selected for study where African Mexicans are visibly blotched, they appear as mestizos, obviously of their African heritage, and willingly move toward becoming white. So basically, man, in a particular period, sounds like in the early 1920s, that this whole concept of white supremacy in the minds of Mexicans or whatever caused them to basically disassociate themselves from the black people who helped form the Mexican empire, so to speak, or the Mexican nation. So these people need to do, that's why I say, bro, a lot of them people that come over here and stuff and that themselves into quote unquote whiteness, a lot of these people don't even know their own history. So white supremacy has become a part of the substratum of what it is to be Mexican in America even before they came here. So they come here, even though they still are discriminated against minority, they come over here and beat on the damn freedmen. And that's all I got, bro. We can go more into that, but for the time, bro, I'm a fall.
Yeah, I'm gonna get into some numbers. I want to get into some numbers. We like to, pull this whole thing together, man. Bloomberg has an article. Let me hold on. Let me see. There we go. Bloomberg has an article. I'm gonna pull this up. Start breaking this thing down, right? Hispanic-American incomes are rising faster than anybody else's. I used to be able to read this for free. Now you got to pay $1.99 a month, which is what all of the online news or media companies are doing. I already have too many damn subscriptions. I've lost in all the subscriptions I have on a bunch of stuff. I've just been going back and canceling a lot of stuff because, to read something worth reading once a month is not even worth the $2, the $1.99 a month. And then it starts at $1.99 a month, but it never seems to remain that way. But Hispanic American incomes are rising faster than anybody else's. They seem to be on a path to success taken by other immigrants. The guy that's speaking, right, was Honduran. And there was a reason why we highlighted the Mexicans, because the guy that was speaking, I'm not sure, I believe he was a Mexican. I'm not sure. But most of the people that pulled up to that studio today in Los Angeles were Mexicans. They were Mexicans. So we wanted to root that in Mexico, right? In the Mexican-American experience, and we're going to get into some numbers, because the Mexican-Americans are the largest ethnic group in this country. La Raza, real quick. The Spanish Express, this is per Wikipedia. Let me put this in the chat as well. The Spanish expression La Raza, the people or the community. Literal translation, the race. The literal translation is the race. Has historically been used to refer to the Hispanophone populations, primarily, though not always, exclusively in the Western Hemisphere. Considered as an ethnic or racial unit, historically deriving from the Spanish Empire and the process of racial intermixing of the Spanish colonizers with the indigenous population of the Americas. They left out the part that Grimm was just talking about, that African admixture, that great part that helped create the foundation of the country. They left that part out on Wiki, but you could always go back and edit this stuff. So remember, the guy said in the video that La Raza is going to protest against black people getting reparations. You know why? Because in white supremacy, they never wanted us to have anything. Y'all see me read from that book, The Bloody Shirt, all the time. I always read that excerpt, right? And there's a reason why I read it, because these people are trying to be white verse. Y'all see when I read from the study that was done in 2013, Diversity for Diversity's Sakes, when it speaks about how affirmative action that was meant for black people is now benefiting black immigrants who are overrepresented in colleges and universities as black people, as opposed to the freedmen who built those colleges, especially the HBCUs. They built Harvard. Most of these colleges were built by slave labor. I want to read this real quick. It says, this is right after slavery. This reporter is interviewing former slave masters in the South. It says, how much? Now, I'm not going to start from there. It says, this former slave master, went on in some time in this vein, complaining with a special bitterness that, quote, the government has taken away all the coercive power from us. A Negro does what he likes, and I cannot inflict adequate punishment on him. He's complaining that he can't whip us anymore. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? We were freed from these people's private bondage. And this former slave master was complaining that I can't whip them no more. They're not your property. You can't whip them anymore. So he was asked, how much does he pay his people? He said, this former slave master, no money wages. If you give money to a nigger, he goes and spends it for whiskey. And I have no intention of making the country any more unsafe to live in than it is at present. Besides, sir, and Mr. W will tell you the same, they are not worth it.
Naheem.
They are not. Yo.
Yeah, Naheem. I just want to aid moderators. Moderators, take care of that adult dating chat site that's popping up.
Okay, yeah, I just blocked them as well. You know, they trying to stop our flow, but they can't. It says, besides, sir, and Mr. W will tell you the same, that they are not worth it. Because when you hear the American Cholo guy and his guests, the La Raza speaking, this is what they're saying without saying it, that our people are not worth giving money to. They're not worth what we're owed for building up this country for free at the the hand of these Europeans, at the end of a whip, at the end of torture. We tried to starve ourselves to death. Said we would never work for you. They busted our teeth out and stuck funnels in our mouths and liquefied the food and forced it in our bellies and then forced us to work or whipped us just so long enough that we could stay alive, and then force fed us again. Ain't no La Raza go through that here, not in the United States of America, not here. So he says they are not worth it. A white man will do the work of 3 niggas, and 1 slave did more than 3 of these freedmen, right? Which was a lie. The reporter went and showed that the freedmen were putting in a lot of work during that time, and that these white folks, they were the lazy ones because they didn't know how to work the fields. They never had to before. It was a lie. In the book, Back of the Hiring Line, it highlights how this lie is spread that Mexicans do jobs that black people don't want to do. Wrong. our people were doing those jobs. They were replaced by Mexicans. And somehow this talking point got out there and it became a joke that late night comedians used, that everybody started to use. You know, the Mexicans, they just be in the field. But in this book, he highlights how this was a lie. It's a talking point that we all just accepted. Matter of fact, on page 192 in this book, man, I'm going to read and I'm going to get into some numbers. So y'all bear with me. It says, a former director, this is from the chapter 17, affirmative action against blacks. Now, affirmative action was supposed to be for us. It says a former director of an employment agency for Cambodian refugees in Chicago, for example, said he was surprised how often companies would tell him directly, quote, we want to phase out our blacks and bring in Asians. I was working for a company that it was damn near all Vietnamese, right in Winder, Georgia, family. Half of them couldn't speak no English at all. It keeps us clear in the EEO, the Federal Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and gets us better workers. You know, they felt these people were better workers because they could talk to them any kind of way. They could direct them the way they want to. They won't get no feedback for overworking them, et cetera, et cetera. All that is touched on in this book. It says affirmative action had been turned on its head by immigration so that it sometimes hurt the very people it was designed to help. The policy was begun under the Johnson administration in the 1960s to improve Black participation in some of the more desirable areas of the economy where Black Americans previously had trouble entering it. It was not envisioned for immigrants. But President Nixon's Labor Department significantly watered down affirmative action as a tool to redress the lingering effects of slavery, racial apartheid laws in the South, and immigrant unions closed hiring halls. In his study, Affirmative Action for Immigrants, the entitlement nobody wanted, James S. Robb wrote that Nixon's Labor Department, quote, in effect, created several new minority groups out of whole cloth. Persons who might have thought of themselves as Mexican American, Cuban American, or Brazilian American now discovered they belonged to a single minority, Hispanics. So when you see them screaming, La Raza, they're calling on the entire Hispanic community, not just Mexicans or El Salvadorians, San Salvadorians, or Hondurans, etc. No, they're calling on the entire community in the same way that whites had did it. In the same way that we thought we were doing it until we found out that Black immigrants really don't like us. They don't. We found that out firsthand. So, let me see. So somebody, hold on. D Money Ali. I don't know who he's talking to in the chat. He's talking to my bro, Marcus Champion. Shout out to Marcus Champion and my Cali family. He says, how am I anti-Black when I play the blues and gospel and gospel sing and I play football? I'm FOI Muslim. That's the narrative, you hater mother effer. Okay. Let me address this real quick before we get into these numbers. Playing the blues don't make you pro-Black. Singing gospel songs don't make you matter of fact, don't make you pro-freedmen. Let me be clear. Let's be clearer. Don't make you pro-freedmen. Playing football doesn't make you pro-freedmen. The Nation of Islam has opened its doors up to even white people. That don't make them pro-freedmen. The Nation of Islam has decided to side with NARC and in Cobra. Pan-Africanist groups are against our push for reparations as it regards our lineage, meaning our families, because that's what lineage means, your specific family. The descendants, we are the descendants of those people who were emancipated. Everything that you're saying means nothing. You just basically said, how can I be racist? I have black friends. Anyway, let's look up this chart. This is the chart from that article I pulled up from Bloomberg. I had this saved for a minute. Flying up the ladder. Hispanic incomes grew faster than those of any other group in recent years. And this is the estimated percent growth in median household income between 2014 and 2019. So we see white people and black people are at the low, right? So looking at this graph without understanding any other economic data, it would look like Hispanics and Asians are just doing better than black and white people. That's just not the case. This is speaking of incomes that grew. White people already have the largest income intake, with Asian Americans right behind them. In some studies, I think Asian Americans might even be surpassing white people in this regard. But still, white folks are by far the wealthiest people in this country, so their incomes don't need to grow. We've had a man on our show, a billionaire that we've interviewed, that said he doesn't even collect income anymore. He's just right. I don't think I can find a black person, a freedman, be specific. I don't think that I could find a freedman that would say that. So the difference between the white and black is that the black income is not growing at all. We don't have the same wealth positionality as whites. In fact, we are worth 10 cents to every white dollar. But let us look at Asians and Hispanics, particularly Hispanics, being that that's our focus for tonight. Their growth is outpacing everybody else's in the country. They have these articles, right? Let's close this out. Let us close this out. Hold on, family. Hold on. Hold on. Let us close this out for a second. I want to pull up. I want to pull up some economic numbers. Let's pull up some economic numbers. Let's get into this thing. Y'all know how we do over here. So the economic state of Latinos in America, the American Dream Deferred. This report was out last year in 2021. I see this falling. Okay. The American Dream is not deferred. We just had that Bloomberg article, and we just had a chart that we pulled up that showed that Hispanic incomes are growing faster than everybody else's incomes. And that's due to ethnic networking, et cetera, et cetera. So this article says addressing the barriers preventing Latinos from full economic participation could have a multi-trillion-dollar impact, further unleashing their entrepreneurial spirit. I always say that word wrong. Entrepreneurial spirit, creating millions of jobs, driving consumer spending, and building intergenerational wealth. It's not true. I want to read this part. Latinos make up 18.4% of the U.S. population and 17.3% of the U.S. labor force. A share forecast to rise more than 30% by 2060. I want you all to stick a pin in that. Put a sticky note right there. Little tab right there. Brother Ali, our BTP bro, always says that, when he's driving through New York and New Jersey, he sees a string of, and let me put this link in the chat, a string of Hispanic restaurants, Los Compadres, and I can't even think of all the names, but they're all over, right? So they hit us with these lies that they've come over here with, barely $100 in their pocket, and they were able to make no. The United States of America helps you. Soon as you get over here, they put money in your pocket. You get flooded with programs that you take advantage of. Then you link up with other Hispanics, particularly Mexicans, because they are the largest group, the largest Hispanic group. You link up with them, and you're able to plug yourself into employment. And they may have worked their way up in some job in some factory. I'm gonna pull you in. I'm the supervisor. I got you. Don't worry about it. I got him. Muffet Nellen, pose that question in a few. I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that. Right? Aspirational. I'll get to that. I'll get to that. So why am I saying this? Right? Why am I saying Latino Americans make just 73 cents for every dollar earned by white Americans? That's high compared to us. Overall, our overall worth is 10 cents on the dollar. Our earning worth, if somebody can correct my numbers, is like 52 to 53 cents on every dollar compared to white Americans. These people just got over here. You know why they are focusing on this, a dream deferred? Think about the article, the Bloomberg article that I pulled up. How Hispanics are doing great over here. Think about the graph that I just pulled up. These people are doing great. What is happening is, and we can read, let's read the numbers. Latinos make up 18.4% of the U.S. population and 17.3% of the U.S. labor force, a share forecast to rise more than 30% by 2060. So Latinos are, let me see, what is their numbers? Hold on. Okay, this is coming from the Pew Research. Just the Mexicans alone, 36.6 million Hispanics. I think their numbers are close to 50 million or something like that. I meant to pull up the actual numbers on Hispanics. Why am I bringing this up? Because if you're adding poor immigrants every year, I want y'all to see the rules that is being played, family. If you are adding poor immigrants over here every year, the ones that are doing well, when you aggregate their numbers, when you aggregate their wealth, it appears as if there's this drag, but you're adding new immigrants every single year from Hispanic countries. Black wealth is stagnant. Why? Because we don't have immigrants to add to freedmen wealth. If you disaggregate freedmen wealth from black wealth, matter of fact, let's look at this. Let me put that link in the chat so you all can read through it. Make sure y'all hit that like button, family. Make sure y'all share that video out. Let's get them likes up. Okay, so let's close that out. So let's get into our people. Same website. The economic state of Black America. Let's get into that. The economic state of Black America, what it is and what it could be, right? And they just show what appears to be a lot of successful looking Black folks, a lot of single mothers. You know, one, again, can't say that's a single dad going across the screen, but let's scroll down. Closing racial gaps across the economy is not only about righting historic wrongs, it is also about choosing a more dynamic future and realizing the full potential of a massively underutilized source of talent to the benefit of all Americans. We're no longer concerned with closing racial gaps. We're just not. We're not doing race work over here. We've stopped using that term racial wealth gap. It is a highly charged term that we feel takes away from what we're looking for insofar as a desired effect based on how race is viewed through the eyes of the law. Go look at the Black farmers who were allocated monies in the COVID bill, how they added all of those other people, got sued by some right-wingers, and they never received that money until this day. Let me see. Let's get into this. Where do I want to start? Okay, let's start here. Previous McKinsey research has documented geographic mismatches between Black workers and opportunity. Underrepresentation is fast growing. Higher wage industries, lower odds for advancement, and higher attrition for Black workers in frontline and entry-level jobs. Low representation in executive roles, and the lack of sponsorship and allyship for Black employees, right? Nobody's fighting for us. I go to Duluth in Georgia. There's the Asians own Duluth, Georgia, or at least the part that I visit. They have and I bring this up all the time, an Asian restaurant. It's owned by some Chinese people. All of their employees are Mexican, besides the, obvious Asians that probably own the spot and work there. All of their employees are Mexicans. It says in the lack of sponsorship and allyship for Black employees. The occupational lens taken in this work is an important complement to those perspectives, and it is inextricably linked to the wage gap, which holds the key to greater economic mobility if addressed. Man, I could just go, we go through these numbers all the time, but I'll read the rest of it. Today, the median annual wage for Black workers is approximately 30% or $10,000 lower than that of white workers, a figure with enormous implications for household economic security, consumption, and the ability to build wealth. Black workers make up 12.9% of the U.S. labor force today, but earn only 9.6% of total U.S. wages. We make up 12%, almost 13%, but only earn 9.6% of total U.S. wages. We estimate a $220 billion annual disparity between Black wages today and what they would be in a scenario of full parity, meaning if we were on par with everybody else in this nation. I don't know what these La Raza, American Cholo, I don't know what these guys are talking about, family. I mean, they say we don't deserve reparations. These people are winning. And I could get so much deeper into the numbers. I don't want to, just read a whole bunch of this stuff. But I'll pull up. Let me stop sharing that. I want to pull up some other numbers real quick. Let's pull this up real quick, family. All we do is show and prove, man. These people don't want us to have nothing. How many Hispanic-owned businesses, this is coming from the smallbusinessassociation.gov, how many Hispanic-owned businesses are there in the United States? There are an estimated 4.65 million Hispanic-owned businesses in the U.S., making them the fastest growing segment of U.S. small businesses. I want you all to keep in mind, the fact that they keep adding new Hispanics over here every single year. Bayarea Savage says American Cholo makes us Mexicans look bad. And I also want to clarify, we're not speaking about every Mexican or every Hispanic. We're just speaking to the bigots and the racists like American Cholo. I want that to be clear. We're speaking to those people right now. So you see, right, that the Hispanics have the fastest growing business in businesses in this country. The fastest growing market for businesses is right here in the United States for the Hispanics. They're not making this money or building these businesses in their home countries. And remember, Hispanic is a one race that comprises of all Hispanic people. 36 million of the Hispanics in the United States of America, Mexicans. So now let's look at Black businesses. Oh man, hold on. Let us look at Black businesses. Okay, how many Black businesses are owned in the U.S. in 2021? Nationally, As of the latest census data released, there were 3.12 million Black-owned businesses in the United States, generating $206 billion in annual revenue and supporting 3.56 million U.S. jobs. No talk of this, fastest growing. 4.65 million Hispanic-owned businesses. La Raza, they are all together, right? Oh man, this thing just keeps going off. They are all together, right? All right, let me stop sharing that. But for our people, we're not all together. So we have to ask ourselves, how many of these 3.56 million jobs are, 3.12 million Black-owned businesses are actually freedmen-owned businesses? How many? How many of them are freedmen-owned businesses? We got to ask ourselves that question, family. Just saying. Just saying. Those people don't like us either. Nobody likes us. And so we got to form Voltron. And I don't understand how people have these adverse, positions towards the freedmen. It's baffling to me. It's baffling to me. We are the ones that built this country. We built the economic structure of this country so other people can come over here and prosper. We did that. We did that. Makiba said, wow, it appears that America will be a Hispanic country in the future when the white folk are a minority. Hispanics should be all together. We are the ones who think individually. That's a fact. I can't even get the people in the reparationist movement to rock out together. It's people trying to compete with you. It's people trying to be the big dogs. We need to be moving together because they rolling 50 deep. And when this thing starts moving in North Carolina, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be on the front lines and see if these people going to pull up and protest. And I'm going to put the call out for everybody to be there. They pulling up, we pulling up. What you mean you protesting our reparations? Let's go back to the point that Makiba just brought up. I want to play a clip that we share here. And I want you to pay attention. This is from an interview that we had with Charles Blow on his book detailing the strategy for our move south and how things are going to look 30 years from now.
Radical conversation. No, this is literally right now, 90% white people. But if you take the population of all those states, put them together, they're only 1/4 the population of Black people in this country. It's not about your scale. People say, well, Black people can't think they're going to have that much power. They're only 14% of the population. Scale has nothing to do with it.
That's right.
Those people in those 6 or 7 states represent only 3% of the American population, but they also represent 1 out of every 6 Senate votes ever cast on any issue.
Wow.
What you have to do is decide if you want to be strategically arrayed in America rather than completely spread out. And there's a balkanization of this country that's coming whether I wrote this book or not. It's happening. In 30 years from now, 6, 7, 8 of the southwestern states will be majority Hispanic, not majority brown, not majority minority, majority Hispanic. They will send whatever delegation they want to Washington, and they should. They will control all those electoral college votes, and then that's the way it breaks. Hawaii will continue to be majority Asian, South Pacific Islander, and they will send people representing that demographic to Congress as they do now. Oregon, Washington, down into the Rockies will continue to be majority white. Everything east of that will be some combination of majority white and majority minority. There is not a single state on that map 30 years from now that is projected to be majority Black. Now, Black people just have a choice to make. As I've been going in this bookstore, I keep saying, I'm not twisting you on. I'm saying, do you want state power or not?
That's right.
Because you can have it. It has nothing to do with your scale. Has nothing to do with you being 40% of the population. It has to do with where do you want to literally position yourself in the country. Because you can have that power.
We can have that power, family. It's on us now. The ball is in our court. 66% of our people live in the southern states, or what are called the former slave states. 44% of our people live outside of those states. We preach this on this channel. If just half came back to the southern states, we would control our politics in perpetuity, because we would keep producing. We would be in control of states' budgets. We would send our own senators, because we would have the political majority. We would have political singularity. We would not have to rely on building coalitions. We wouldn't have to rely on it. We always got to vote with other people, even though we're the ones that's moving it over the top. We're the only ones that vote at an 85 to 95% clip in general elections. Hispanics, 30% of them voted with the Republicans. If they're trying to make that an issue. Just saying, 30% of them. Every election, we vote between 85 to 95%, or 85 to 90. I think Obama got 96% of the Black vote in the first run, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody could correct me on those numbers. We now have the opportunity, family. Georgia, South Carolina, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. Mississippi first, because it has the largest percentage per capita of our people. We can gain singularity there faster, meaning we could have a voting demographic in that state that would give us dominion over that state. Like, let's just be real. Don't let people scare you with conspiracy theories. Oh, they just trying to get you all in one place. So they like, wait, if they wanted to do something to us, they know how to find each and every last one of us. They don't got to get us in. 66% of us already live in the South. I mean, it's on us now. It's on us, family. I mean, yeah, make sure Sister Shanna put the link in the chat, the BTP book club we did, The Devil You Know. Should Black Americans move south? I mean, it is what it is. Brother Muffet Nellen, let me see if I can find your comment, because I wanted to address it directly. And I can't. I probably done scroll past it, but I wanted to. If you could put your comment back up there. But you said the solution to the dissension in our ranks is for some of us to show some wins. I mean, California just showed a great victory. California just showed a great victory. So for those of us that believe in the Black South strategy and believe in political power, the political power that we are going to need to win this fight, then we got to start doing that down here in the American South. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. I moved. I mean, you can see I'm New York, right? I'm New York, Queens, baby, Queens. But I'm down. I'm a freedman. I'm in the South. I don't care about New York. I don't care about that place. I care about my people. That's what I care about. Because we're losing. And we're especially in New York. We're really losing up there. We are really losing up there. I'm down here now. And I'm trying to get people to come down here so that we could have greater political power. That's what they did in Vermont. That's why Bernie Sanders and some other politician out there they're lifelong politicians out there. Them hippies got together in the 70s, and my pops, if he's still on, he can tell you when the 5%ers were teaching back in the days, they were in, I think he was telling me, Massachusetts, and he's seen these large encampments of these hippie white folks, and they used to love to listen to the 5%ers teach. And my pop said he asked them, like, why y'all, in all of these tents, why do y'all have these encampments? And they told him, we're moving to Vermont. And that's exactly what they did. And guess what? Vermont is a very racist state right now. They went up there and all of that hippie stuff went out the window. This is white power. We can have that power. Charles Blow said it best. It's not about scale. It's about where we are strategically positioned. We are the second largest ethnic group in this country. There's only 4.6 million black immigrants. The rest of that is us. That leaves about 40 million of us. The only group higher is the German Americans. It's the only group higher. We've had between 13 and 18 million abortions since 1973. Couple that with high homicide rates due to the fact that we've been forced into criminality by this government's policy of neglecting us, telling us, oh, you can do it on your own, while giving immigrants everything. Everything. People come over here dirt poor and get everything and then build businesses and then say, we came over here with nothing and now we've built out great businesses. Man, if you don't stop that cap, yeah, you came over here with nothing, but then the government gave you everything. Helped you by letting you come over here because a family member wanted chain migration. Just saying, man. Just saying. So I'm going to get to some of the content. Let me see. Some of the questions. Let me see. Okay, yeah. He said the question, what is the base level of wealth a black household should seek? I go with what was proposed by the socioeconomists, man. 850,000. That meaning 85K a year. If you're talking about repair, 850,000, that 85K spread over 10 years. But for freedmen in general, we should be making, as freedmen, all 40 million of us, or you cut that in half by working age adults, we should be earning on average $60,000 a year. Rents are going up all across the country, food prices, everything. Who is that affecting? It's affecting us. It's affecting us. Hispanic, let me pull this chart up again. Hispanic incomes, La Raza, is rising. It's rising. This was put out last year. Hispanic incomes is outpacing everybody else's. What are they talking about? We don't need reparations. They're going to protest, and I'm going to be right there. If they come out to North Carolina, I'm going to be right there on the front line, family. And if they pull up 50 deep, I'm calling for the freedmen to come 100 deep. And if they come 150 deep, then we come in 200 deep. And it's simple as that. It's simple as that. So let me see what else we got going on here. I know it's a lot of stuff that I missed, and I kind of wanted to touch on some of what was said. But you know, just back to the South, right? It's I don't want to say it's our greatest or best chance at political survival in this country. I want to say that it's our only chance. I am of that opinion. You heard what Blow said. There's not a single state on the map that is projected to be predominantly black 30 years from now. 30 years from now, the Hispanic population will have doubled ours. The Asian population will have surpassed us. How? We've been here since 1619, family. We have to start taking control over our stuff. Point blank, period. We have to start pushing. We have to become the power. We have to become the politicians. Period. Period. We can do that if we start concentrating our efforts. Because I don't care about New York, man. That's why I wore this today. I wanted to be give a visual representation of the place where I'm from, while letting you all know that I don't care about that place. I care about my people. And we as a people, because they scream La Raza, which means the people, the community, the race. Well, if we are about the same thing, then I feel, I am of the opinion, based on my studies and my research, from this book, the liberal guy wrote this book, right? This liberal guy. You know, it's funny, I'll say, when I show this book, the back of the hiring line, it was like a white conservative wrote this book. These guys lean that way. They didn't see when we did the interview with Blow for this book, people were saying that we was aligned with the liberals. No, we are looking for the best solutions for our people. We are a solutions policy focused group. And I feel that what Blow wrote in this book right here, insofar as our political power is concerned, is key to us moving forward in the future. We have to get back south, family. And I know a lot of you are not trying to hear that. And I understand. We're not calling for everybody. We're just calling for 22%. Muffinella says 60K is $30 an hour. Yeah. That. Yep. Peace, brother Vince Jefferson. Peace to everybody that just joined as well. Let me see. Trying to get to some. BB Rodriguez said 80K is a safe zone, a safe zone. That way investment portfolios and savings are secure. We deserve it. Like, how long will we be the doormats to this place? How much longer? And that's what everybody is up in arms about, family. That's what they're up in arms about, that we refuse to be the door. You cannot wipe your feet on us anymore. You cannot ride our backs to legislative victories and then we get cut out. It's just not happening anymore. And they're up in arms. The Black Democrats are up in arms. They're all over Twitter going crazy. They see it. They see the campaign, Don't Vote Blue 2022 is pushing. It's pushing. And I want to speak to that. We launched the Don't Vote Blue 2022 campaign. You know, it was a collaborative effort, I'll say, right? And other people decided that they was going to make something similar but different. People don't want to work together. People just want to do stuff so that they could take the credit for it. Yo, we've done so much in this reparation space. You hardly hear us speak about any of it. When we do work, whatever work we do, we usually let the family shout us out. And we just keep it moving. I'm doing some work right now, me personally, behind the scenes in representation of the organization, the United Sons and Daughters of Freedmen, some reparations work. Some reparations work. Y'all going, that's going to be coming to y'all real soon. Real soon. So I'm just saying, man, We could have this thing if we want it. And I think that those of us that have the means to get south should start putting that 5-year plan together. What can we do? 50 acres here, 50 acres there. How can we get funding? We always talk about the entertainers could be helping us. The entertainers don't know how to help. That's why they keep saying stupid stuff like buy back the block. You didn't get rich by buying a block. You got rich by rapping or movies or playing ball, sports. It's not how you got rich. They don't know what to say because nobody's coming with the plan. Send them this way because we have a plan. We have a plan. 50% of the homeless population in California is our people. I'd rather them live in Mississippi. And we start pouring resources in while we're educating them and building them up in Mississippi and Alabama, South Carolina, Georgia, Louisiana, the 5 initial states. Get our people to start moving to North Carolina, to Delaware, Virginia. Start moving back to the places where we held some numerical majorities in 3 states back in the days, Louisiana, South Carolina, and I want to say Alabama. I could be off on that third one. They ran us out, messed our numbers up. You know, so let me see. Muffinella says 2 or 3 working in the household, doing government jobs, professional or service jobs, or self-employed in trucking or something else can do better than $60K a year. A community agenda is the issue, and this is what I'm saying. We got to start putting our heads together. Because could you imagine if we're able to take 25% of the homeless population, those people that are still in their right minds, because some people get messed up through that experience, and get them in some encampments like them white folks was when they were about to establish Vermont. They didn't mind sleeping in them tents. They knew what the political future held for their particular group of people, and look at them now. They got Bernie. And he's going to keep getting elected in that state until he finds a successor. And guess what's going to happen? That guy or female is going to keep getting elected until whenever. And we have to have the same broad political thinking, focus, and imagination, family. Let me see. Try to get to some more of these before I get up off here. I'm trying to talk tonight, man. I'm trying to talk. Anthony Dickinson said, good job tonight, BTP, Mexicans, # easy work. But of course, all this work is easy work, man. These people trying to come at us, they don't know. I don't even want to say they don't know any better. They probably believe that nonsense that comes out of their mouths. If you want to know the most racist fans in the sport of boxing, look at the Mexicans, and it's just a fact. It's just a fact. We preach black and brown solidarity, right, as a people, not us. We don't deal with the black and brown, so it's strictly our people first because everybody else is eating. I showed the graphs where Hispanic numbers and the articles, these people are rising up the ladder in this country. Their numbers are dragging down only because they keep bringing poor immigrants to the country by the tens of thousands every year. Immigration has to be tackled as well. But we can only do that with political power. If somebody has a better plan, please show and prove. Just show and prove. So let me see. Sister Satra said a Hispanic man runs a Hispanic bank that got millions from Kamala during the Freedmen's Bank Forum. They are taking over North Carolina. Yeah, I've been in Charlotte several times, and I've seen the immigrant population there. They are taking over, especially black immigrants, especially. Let me see. BB, citing the infamous Les Brown, says, being casual causes you to become a casualty. And that is a fact. That is a fact. Let me see. Bukhari Harris says, most of us have homes, which means we could have plumbers, electricians, landscaping. I don't know if you mean most of us can have homes. If that's what you mean, then yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know? Satra says, when Governor Kemp wrote illegal immigration law, they moved to North Carolina and South Carolina in high numbers. They are taking over the Sea Islands, and we got to get the Sea Islands. We got to take back control. We got to get our sister BTP Riri with them lobster queens set up on the Sea Island, where she got them low country seafood dishes. I can't wait to taste them joints. Them Gullah recipes that she's putting out up there in New York and New Jersey. Gullah Geechee. We need those lobster queens situated on the coast of Louisiana and Alabama. Our Freedmen businesses. I want to start something called the Freedmen Fish and Grill. I don't like to put my ideas out there because people just take them and the next thing you know, they running with them and they won't even say, yeah, you know, we got this from brother. Sometimes I don't care. Other times but after visiting several Mexican restaurants, I'm like, damn, these are beautiful. These are beautiful, man. It's big Hispanic Mexican restaurants. I want to start something called the Freedmen Fish and Grill. Who wants to help put that together down here? I'm in Georgia right now. Let's start a string of the Freedmen Fish and Grill down here in the South. We're going to have some lobster queens, etc. Go. Like, let's start thinking in that way so we can start coming out. This way we start getting more political minded. Like, okay, we need political power to get to the bag. How do we get the political power? We need numbers. How do we get our people to move from the north to the south? We have to devise strategies. We have to devise plans, stuff that we wouldn't dare talk about on BTP, period. Period. Let me see. BB said, we don't owe anybody our financial support. Dr. Amos Wilson. Discriminate where and whom you spend your money. At this point, there are no excuses on how you spend your money. Absolutely. Absolutely. Brother Muffinella said he'll help. It's time. Let's get a Freedmen Fish and Grill going. Because when I visit the restaurants out here, they got the old black and white cowboy Mexican movies playing, the Spanish music, the Hispanic flags all over the place. Let's do the same. Freedmen, though. We could have, I don't know, the Cosby Show on our own movies and stuff playing on large screens with positive Freedmen music playing in the restaurant, helping to set the ambiance. Let's build, family. Because these people think they're going to run us out. They don't want us to have nothing. But we're going to show them that we're going to get and that we're going to keep getting. And when we get the political power, we're going to take. We're going to take, period. So I'm not going to stay on here too long. Issa El Makti said, without land, you will not win. I mean, it all depends on what you mean by land, right? People say land a lot. You know what I can do with 5 acres of land? 5 acres? A house, a nice size house sits on about an acre. And I'm talking about a nice size house. A regular house sits on maybe a half an acre. Maybe a half an acre. Maybe. I'm talking about with the yard, etc., the garage and all of that. You know what we can do with 5 acres of land? Man, listen. Muffet said we can do way more than restaurants as well. Of course, we need to make sure that we are getting into all of these industries. But why is it that when my people, freedmen, want to go out and have a night on the town, I've done that. I've been on dates, etc. I have to go to these restaurants because they're the closest thing to me. I could drive. I gotta take a drive to Atlanta to get into the black restaurants. Yeah, no doubt. And they have them in Atlanta. I'm not saying that they don't, but Atlanta is their numbers. They're no longer a majority black. Y'all know how we do. We pull the numbers up. I'll pull that up before I get off of here. I will pull that up before I get off of here. Atlanta is no more majority black. Everywhere we go and build up, other people come and they take over, and then they raise the rents and they push us out. This is 11 Alive, one of the news channels down here. Census, no more black majority in Atlanta. And Atlanta Journal-Constitution analysis shows a 47% black population in 2020. How do you get a population that was over, I think 80% black at one time, is now down to 47%? It says the new census data shows that African Americans are still the largest ethnic group in Atlanta, but they dropped below 50% in the 2020 census. That means all these other groups combined outnumber us. In 2019, the U.S. Census reported that 51% of Atlanta's residents were black. However, the new data shows the number dropped to 47% a year later, family. So that's a 3% drop. So either we got killed off, incarcerated, moved out of Atlanta, or that many more immigrants came in. And I'm going to guess and say that it is a combination of all of those things. All of those things. So, I mean, it's on us. The ball is in our court. Now, I wanted to get on here tonight to address American Cholo, La Raza, the Mexican Americans, the Hispanics all over this country. We're here. Ain't nobody bullying us. We ain't letting nobody talk to us no kind of way. We're not letting nobody dictate nothing to us about what we need and what we don't need. We determine that, and only we. You can never tell us that we can't get reparations, ever. Talk about you got to get it first, and the Native Americans. You didn't go through nothing in this country and that deserves reparations. And the Native Americans, as I showed earlier, have been repaired. Many of those tribes have been repaired 10 times over. Period. So, we gotta let me see. Yes, land. Yeah, and I wanted to say, let me get back to the land part. I wasn't knocking what the brother was saying about land. It's just in my time in the conscious community, when people say land, it's different than thinking about what to do if you had 5 acres of land and you had just pecan trees growing on that 5 acres. I'm just saying, that I just wanted to address that. Cleavon McClendon or Cleveland McClendon said, I can see and feel the disdain whenever I'm around them somewhere. Yeah, I mean, I see it all the time. I experience it. I move the way I move. I still move like a New Yorker, alpha New Yorker. Let me put some clarification on that. So it is what it is. But we're gonna get up off of here, man. I want to thank you all for joining tonight. I hope this message gets out. I hope that we can, start to build collectively, man, because there's a lot of stuff going on that requires our unity. And so long as we're battling with each other, so long as, you know, people are trying to compete. Like, we're not trying to compete with nobody. We're just building. But there are people out there that are definitely trying to compete with us, which is crazy. Like I said, we do drop Don't Vote Blue 2022, and some people drop something else. Instead of us just coming together, saying, how can we work this thing together? So long as we keep doing that, it's just, we're going to keep being the people that everybody else, the La Raza, the Black immigrant community, and white supremacists keep stepping on, because we can't seem to get our collective shit together. And it is what it is. It is what it is. So, you know, with that, man, I'm going to end the stream. We need to make sure that these people know we are no longer voiceless. I think they were doing some type of pull-up today at that, I think, the radio station. I hope men were out there leading. You know, I seen some sisters that made some posts, but I hope the men stepped in front of it so that they could lead it and let them know that we out here deep. We ain't going nowhere. You know, we just got calling people coons, and Mexicans talk about, because, you know, brothers live in white neighborhoods, they're coons. What? Then you're going to double down on it. Going to double down on it. Say, you know, the reason why I said that don't make it no better. I'll sit down. I'll have a sit down with them. They could bring all 50 of their people. I ain't never scared. That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah, I don't be cursing on the show, but, you know, sometimes you just got to drive that point together. We got to get our collective shit together. Honor Sister BTP Riri. So let me end this thing, man. Let me end this thing. And matter of fact, let me read this last one. Stop taking your kids to funky ass Chuck E. Cheese. That POS don't like black babies. So F them along with those must bucket Muppets at Sesame Place. Rent a jumbo gym for your yard and enjoy your home. That's another thing, Muffet Nellen, that we could start thinking about. I came up with an idea back in the days called the Fun in One, where we just combined a whole bunch of, you know, things in like one building that had outdoor activities, you know, from now we could look at it through what they call the virtual reality video gaming, to go-karts, to just having our own thing. We can build that now. And I know resources is scarce for us, but political pressure bust pipes. So let's just get this thing going, man. So I'm gonna end it. And y'all could tell I want to keep on going, but I'm gonna end it. So peace to the family. Thank you all for joining. I leave you all with the motto of the platform, which is don't just fight the power, become the power. And then and only then will you have the power to make a change. And with that, I say peace.